Hello, and welcome to Crime Time. I am your host, Celeste, and today we are going to talk a little bit about Darrel Brooks, and we are going to explore narcissistic personality. Yeah, we're going to look at all the symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder, throw them on the screen, and see what sticks. Yeah, and you may or may not have seen a German Shepherd. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Anyway, all right, let's get to it, shall we? Right. Thank you. One thing I also want to say is it's really important to remember what Darrel Brooks did. The trial, yes, felt like a sideshow, right? Because he represented himself. Some of his arguments were sovereign citizen arguments, and he obviously has some mental health issues. These issues, of course, do not make him guilty by reason of insanity. And we cannot forget what he did. He drove an SUV and was found guilty of driving an SUV through a parade in downtown Waukesha right before Christmas and killing 6 individuals, some of them grandparents, and 1 child. And that is horrendous. Horrendous. So we can't forget that. So in any eyes, right, he is a killer, killed multiple people. When I think of anybody who kills grandparents, children, right, that's horrendous. Grandparents, horrendous. And the way he did it, and some of the descriptions of the way that he drove, and some of the stuff you hear in the trial. If you haven't heard about the trial, you haven't watched it, watch it. It's as Darrel Brooks says, it's mind-blowing. I encourage you to watch it. You will see narcissism in full effect. So let's not forget what he did, and these are the faces of the angels that are going to keep him behind bars for the rest of his life. Thank you.
And if necessary, by reasonable force. It's my understanding there was some type of situation or altercation between Mr. Brooks and the deputies. Ultimately, though, I think he was taken into the bullpen. He was brought back out, but it was very clear to me that he was upset. I think understandably so, but I needed to make a record of what was being done, including that I have obtained the test result. So there's an accurate record in this case related to the motion that was raised previously by Mr. Brooks. I want Mr. Brooks to know that I am not removing him from when the jurors are brought back in. It was just simply because he was upset. He was very loud when I walked into the courtroom before going on back on the record. He was yelling about his constitutional rights being violated. I advised him that if there was any type of use of force that he wanted to complain about, he could certainly do that through the proper channels with the sheriff's department. But just given his state of agitation and my need to make a record, I had him taken to the other courtroom. He is currently muted. I do not intend to go forward with additional testimony. Ultimately, I'm going to take an early lunch break because of this, but I will make a record of the following. I have the result. I am going to scan it, have my clerk scan it. It will be filed as confidential, though. It won't be available to the public, but it's there for appellate purposes. But I can confirm that the test result for COVID-19 was negative. And again, I required the sheriff's department to provide that result to me, and it was, and it will remain under seal. I realize I'm disclosing that result, but I feel obligated to do that given the motion that was raised 2 days ago by Mr. Brooks.
He raised a motion a few days ago. Most feel it was in an attempt to delay the trial, which is something he said he was going to do over jailhouse phone calls with his mother and with other people, that he was going to delay the trial. I don't understand why, but he was going to. And said he had felt sick. He thought he had COVID. The judge asked him if he wanted a rapid test. He said no, but he did take one of the tests that was a PCR test that took a few days to come back. And then his results came back a few days late. He wanted to stop the trial. The judge said no, trial goes on. A few days go by. Then his results come in, and the judge says, okay, let's see the results. And he says, no. And she says, no, let's see the results. And he says, no. And she says, you're going to show me the results. You stopped that. You wanted to end the trial for this. You wanted to do all this. And he had a little attitude, and she had him grabbed up and snatched up and took the results out of his hands, basically. And he tried to snatch them and snatch the results and crinkle them up and all that. And she took them and she read them open in court, which is her right as a judge. He tried to delay the trial for this reason, whether it was for he really felt sick or not, it doesn't matter. And then he literally, this is how he behaves, right? Whether this is real or not, this is his esteem of himself, so he feels about himself.
Again, I intend to take an early lunch. So that will hopefully give Mr. Brooks an opportunity, if he so chooses, to review the result himself. It was put in front of him. I did see that he either shoved it or tossed it or just dismissed it. It looked like it went on the floor when it was put in front of him, but we'll certainly have the deputies give that to him again during the recess for lunch.
So after she read, took the results out of his hands, read it, probably made a copy of it, had it given back to him, he took it, probably threw it on the floor, right? Which is probably another sign, right, of narcissism, but we won't go there yet, right? So this is something that he's done. And then now he's sitting and totally ignoring her, sitting in silence, just ignoring her, which is actually another sign of narcissism, but we're not going to go there yet either. Once we have a few under our belt, we can start calling them out as we see them. But right now, we're just going to say he's upset, kind of appears to almost cry. He hasn't got there totally yet, but let's keep watching.
Mr. Brooks will also be given the opportunity to change into street clothes if he so chooses. But when we come back, he will be in this courtroom. I agree. Mr. Brooks was making a couple of statements about how he was abiding by the rules and being respectful, things of that nature. I agree. He's done an excellent job while in court here this morning. He's been respectful of the rules. He made some early on. I let him, make his objections or lack of consent. He did that respectfully. When I said I was moving on, he generally was able to do that. We were able to get through 2 witnesses. He was able.
So something the judge is doing now, right, is she is genuinely praising him. And you could also look at it as, praising him, saying, he was, like, give him a cookie. She's giving him cookies, okay? That's what I call it, to me, for me, because I'm not a narcissist, I don't need cookies, okay? Because I'm not a Darrel Brooks, right? I don't need cookies for behaving well, because I'm going to behave well in court, because that's the way you're supposed to behave, right? And most of us, right, in court are going to behave well, because guess what? It's court. And you don't want to go to jail, right? I mean, no. If I get a traffic ticket, I don't show up and be like, who you talking to? Who you telling what? I don't do that, because I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to pay more than the $50 fine or whatever, right? So, she's giving him cookies, right, is what I call that. So, it's like, Chris Rock would be like, what, you want a cookie? So he wants cookies. And so she's giving him cookies right now. That's what I call that. That's where my brain goes, my mental health brain. Okay. Cookies. Cookies.
To follow along, ask cogent, clear, responsive, and articulate objections. He was able to elicit information from the witnesses regarding either their memory, their credibility, and other things. Generally speaking, he's been able to competently represent himself and provide, again, solid cross-examination this morning. So I'm going to give him an opportunity to hopefully settle back in and to come back here when we return from lunch. So with that, we are in recess. Probably come back at 1 o'clock since it's only 11:30.
Okay, and I want you to see this. This, I believe, is true tears. I believe that the cookies made him cry. Hearing these cookies made him cry, you know. And he is having emotional outbursts and crying in open court. Yeah.
A lot of suffering involved in this incident. A lot. Obviously, with the families, with the community, and even the alleged defendant's family as well. There's been a lot of suffering. A lot of misunderstanding. And I just want you to keep in mind everything that will be presented in its totality. Keep in mind. The power that you have. I believe that should escape your knowledge. This has been a long process for everybody. And what I believe is when it's time for you to make your decision, all of you, I believe that, and I pray that it's the right decision.
State has the ability to question you about that, or question this witness, and to look at the veracity of what your claims are here. So I may take an early lunch. If that's in your cell, then you can go get it and bring it. But without that letter, I'm not allowing this line of questioning. Do you have the letter with you in court?
I just said no. How many times I got to say the same thing on record?
You know, sometimes, sir, I don't hear what you say because you interrupt me so much or you answer quietly. And I'm taking notes and I'm focused on probably a dozen things at the same time.
But if I say something under my breath, everybody seems to hear it. Everybody seems to hear
in
that
a
just
quiet
fine.
courtroom, yes, we can hear it very clearly.
Everybody assumes that it has to be disparaging.
Once again, you're doing this tactic.
Because it's not a tactic, it's facts. It's facts.
To some other reason.
It's facts. Because I find it hard to believe that
I'm gonna
all of a sudden nobody hears what I say.
I'm going to let the state make a record of why they believe it's objectionable because I haven't let them do that. I've given you multiple opportunities to tell me why you believe it.
I didn't get these pictures from nobody else. Why was
the
somebody
record will
else
reflect you have 2 pictures that you believe were from this witness.
that I know is from me?
No, that you believe.
That I know.
All right. I'll ask the state their position on all of this.
My position, Your Honor, is that these pictures, first of all, should not be admissible. 1, because of a discovery violation. We've never seen them before. 2, because we have reason to believe that he did not get them from Erica Patterson. He is on a jail phone call talking to his mother, Dawn Woods, about Dawn Woods sending these photographs to him. No.
That's a lie. I object to
Let
that.
the state make their argument.
Something that's funny to watch, and I just have to say this, is the guy in the back. So behind the lady with the camera, the guy in the back is one of, I think his mom's name was Lee Owen. I know his mom's name was Lee. And I know that because I have an uncle named Lee. And I love that name. It's one of my favorite names. And I love that name so much that I've named some of my kids Lee. So I love that name. So I know his mom's first name is Lee, but I don't know her last name. So sorry about that. But I do know her first name is Lee. And she was one of the victims who passed away that Darrel Brooks killed in the SUV. And watch his face when he hears what the prosecutor says. He's like, "You son of a gun. You just crap talking son of a gun." He enjoys every second of watching this narcissist because he knows he's a narcissist. And sometimes it's funny. Like for me, it's funny watching narcissists, and I can tell he likes watching it too. As sad as it is that all this happened, and I'm just so glad that he's able to laugh. You know, that makes me happy. That makes me smile, actually, that he's able to laugh still. And he's sitting with another victim. He's sitting with another family member. I don't know his mom's name, but I know that he's also one of the grandmother victims' sons. And I just don't know it because I'm not good with my memory isn't as good. I know Lee's name because, like I said, I know that name very well. It's one of my favorite names. So, yeah.
Without interruptions,
That's a lie, though.
3, I believe that these photographs are designed to make a suggestion to the jury that Erica Patterson is a bad mom. I think that is what the defendant is trying to do. And if we're going to go down that road, then we would be forced to counter that claim. First of all, it doesn't make her an incredible witness, if it's even true. And second of all, if we go down that road, we would be forced to counter that claim by pointing out that not only does the defendant not live with the child in question, he doesn't live with any of the other children that he has. He impregnated Erica Patterson when she was a minor in Nevada, and for doing so, he was convicted of statutory sexual seduction, pled guilty in March of 2007 to that felony offense, and is a sex offender on the registry as a result. So if there's any causation that would lead to Erica Patterson being a bad mom, Mr. Brooks has a direct role in that causation.
And that's
Furthermore,
I object to that.
I'm not
because that's a lie.
Let him
At the end
finish.
of the day,
Let
if
him
we
finish,
don't open the door
Mr.
on that, no,
Brooks.
since you want to make a record and not be accurate, so let's be accurate on the record since you think you know so much.
Once
So
again,
we can
Mr.
open the
Brooks
door
is
on
being
we can open the door on how old she told you she was when we met.
interrupting.
We can ask that
He
question
is
too then.
over the top.
She told you how old she was.
Mr. Brooks,
She told you the
I'm
truth.
ordering you to sit down and to let
I'm
the
sure she
judge
told you the
I'm
truth.
not gonna sit here and let
I
somebody
don't believe
be
anything he
accurate on
says.
the record and lie on the
Right.
record.
Under Illinois versus Allen, I warned him repeatedly. He's being removed from the courtroom. And you know what? Let me dial that back. We're just going to take an early lunch, 1 hour. We'll be back. And unless he brings that letter and he can show it is inadmissible, she will not be questioned. And under 90611, I will declare the cross-examination closed. Thank you very
This is
much.
attention seeking. As you can see, he's seeking attention.
So let's open the door on all of it then so we can get all of it on the record. Since you think you know so much.
I found out now we're at the end of the 3rd week of trial. These are your witnesses. I presume that you are prepared in whatever way that is.
How
I'm not
can I
going to
be
hold it up.
careful? I'm not. So witnesses just supposed to get up there and I'm just like,
I'm
yeah.
not going to have this commentary, okay? I'm done. The jury's coming out. Be prepared to call
So that's a rush to judgment.
That is not a rush to
It
judgment.
is a rush to
Again, I'm
judgment.
done. the jury.
It's clearly a rush to judgment if I'm telling you that I don't have the
No,
file.
in my
How am I
opinion,
supposed-
you're attempting to delay. So
No,
let's
I'm not attempting to delay nothing.
Okay. I want you to imagine with me. Go with me here, all right? You're on trial for your life, okay? This is either at least 20 years in jail you're looking at, all right? You're spending most of your days behind in a room that's maybe the size of a bathroom, all right? Imagine that with me. Let's imagine together, shall we? You're in a room the size of a bathroom most days. You get out to shower, maybe you come out to eat. You might socialize a little, very little. And the people you socialize probably don't have a very high IQ. And that's putting it mildly. I don't know. I don't want to assume, okay? Because you know what they say about assuming. What are you spending your time doing while you're looking at about 20 years? And the thing you do have access to are the files, right, for that trial. Do you think you might be spending time looking through the files, preparing for the next day, getting ready the week in advance, reading through law files, right? Those are things that I think about, right? As a person who doesn't have narcissistic personality disorder. However, someone with narcissistic personality disorder who does not have a high IQ, right? Now, we've all seen Ted Bundy, right? Ted Bundy had narcissistic personality disorder and had a fairly, well, you can argue, a very high IQ, and was able to prepare for trial, argued his case well. And then we have this guy who can't even pronounce words.
You want to come check the boxes yourself? You always trying to pull some fast maneuvers.
Mr. Brooks,
And Miss Judge, Your Honor,
Mr. Brooks, the jury's coming in.
yeah,
Show respect to
they
the jury.
deserve to know this too. It's still issues that need to get addressed. We didn't even address
Mr.
everything.
Brooks, I addressed all of the issues.
No, I
You
still
know
had another one that didn't have nothing to do with nothing we just talked about. There was a whole nother issue that needed to be addressed that I needed to
And we'll
bring on
address
the
it
record to
later.
your attention.
We'll address it later.
It
He's
needs
the
to
kind
be
of people
addressed
you
now
want to
before we go any
whoop,
further, because
right?
it's
If you're
an
a
important matter.
judge, you want to whoop him.
Just like the subject matter jurisdiction is important. That hasn't been proven on the record.
He doesn't even know what that means.
Just like
It's
the
not
rest of the
the
judge.
time for evidence to be presented or arguments to be made by the
I
parties.
can't
The
even
jury
present
will
any evidence. You won't let me even present
disregard
any evidence in the record.
all of these statements
Which is a
made
rush
by
to
Mr.
judgment.
Brooks
That's
at this time. All right.
That's unfair what
The
you're
court
doing.
will address legal matters outside the
Then we
presence.
need to
Everyone
address
will
the
be
legal
seated.
matter that I was trying to get to
And
before we
you may
rush
call your
everything
next
out.
witness, sir.
I'm not calling any witness until I get an answer, Your Honor. You're a public servant.
Mr.
You're
Brooks,
supposed to be able to answer simple questions.
Mr. Brooks,
If I'm saying I have to bring
call
it to
your
your
next witness,
attention,
please. That's the stage of
I have to
your
bring it to your attention, Your Honor.
Mr.
I'm
Brooks,
merely seeking
please
to bring
stop.
the issue to your
I'm
attention.
telling you to please, I'm asking you to please
And
stop.
I'm asking you,
Because
can
we
we
have the
address?
jury present,
I'm
and
asking you.
we need to continue with the evidentiary phase of this trial. Call your next
I'm
witness.
asking you to address a legal matter, as you said that those have to be taken outside of the jury.
I will
There
do
was
that
a
at the
legal
next
matter.
break.
There was a legal matter that needed to be addressed beforehand,
I
so
will
we
do
don't
it.
have to take up
I
time,
will do
valuable
it at the
time
next break.
afterwards.
You note she said, I'm asking and not telling. She'll watch herself, because when she said to him before, I'm telling you, he gets very angry when she says, I'm telling you. He'll say, are you asking me or telling me? It's who does he think he is? He is in court for his life. She goes home at the end of the day. The prosecutors go home at the end of the day. The jury, the bailiffs, the court people, everybody in that courtroom except for him, Mr. Drupai, there. We're the only one in the courtroom with a mask on. Let's also speak to that. What do you guys think that shows? Does that show low self-esteem? Does that show that he wants to be different? What part of mental health do you feel that might impair of him?
To address something that needs to be addressed now, that way,
Mr.
the court
Brooks,
and you
For the
yourself
third
are on
time,
notice.
I will address it at the next break. Call your next witness, please.
Are you asking me?
I'm directing you to call your next witness.
Your Honor, we're not going to move past this. Seeing as how you took an oath to protect the Constitution, I have your oath. I have a copy of your oath right here. The oath that you took, Your Honor.
Mr. Brooks, I'd like to continue with testimony.
Sir.
We have witnesses waiting for you. Please call your next witness.
The oath that you swore to protect the Constitution, which you are now not doing.
Mr.
So
Brooks,
you're going
call your
against
next
your
witness,
sworn
please.
oath. You're going against your sworn oath
Mr. Brooks, call your next witness.
As you notify the jury every time when there's legal matters, we take them outside of their presence.
Delusions
We're
of
gonna take testimony
grandeur.
right now. Call your next
I'm merely
witness.
seeking
Who does he
to
think
put
he
you on
is?
notice on the record for something that needs to be brought to your attention and
And
to the court's attention.
And I will address it at
That's
the
what
next
I'm
break.
merely seeking to do. It's
He's
something
talking
that
to a
you shouldn't have to
judge,
wait because it'll take
people.
valuable time later.
Imagine
At
talking
least
to
if
the
I
judge like
notify
this
you right from
at
the
your parking
onset,
code hearing. You
you'll
go to your
already know
next
what we're looking at.
hearing for a
If-
parking
if
ticket
the
and talking to her like this.
starts to roll,
Mr. Brooks,
it gets
I will
overlooked.
address it at the next break. If you want to write something down, that's fine, and give it to my clerk. I have nothing in writing. I know there's witnesses available and ready to go. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, Your Honor, you have to answer this question. That's you're
Mr.
making a
Brooks,
judicial
there's no rush to
determination.
judgment.
There is a rush.
Call your next witness,
Just
please.
address a legal issue that I informed you that I had some legal issues that needed to be addressed before you just run right past that, Your Honor. You're a public
Mr.
servant.
Brooks,
Are you not a
it is
public servant?
9:37. Call
It is
your
8:37.
sorry, 8:37. You're right. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, you're rushing me to judgment.
There's no rush to judgment. Call your next
We
witness,
had a
please.
legal matter that
He learned one phrase, rush to judgment, and he
And I-
uses it over
Telling
and
him I'm
over.
denying the request to address it at this moment. Call your next witness.
You said what?
I'm denying your request to address it at this moment. Please call.
How can you deny
Please
something that we're supposed to do before
Mr.
the jury
Brooks.
comes out?
call your witness.
I'm not seeking to be disruptive. I'm just seeking to understand.
Oh my God, this is
why
disruptive.
we all do this every
Everyone
day.
is in the courtroom waiting for you. Please call your
Your
next
Honor, we
witness.
do this every single day. We've done it every single day. So I'm simply trying to make sure that the court is notified.
Put it in writing, hand it to the bailiff, and if I deem it important enough to interrupt the witness, I will. But call your next witness.
Doesn't it look like he's smiling almost? Like he's smirking?
You
Just
take
look.
a minute to write down what it is. I'm not asking you,
why it needed to be addressed beforehand.
Mr. Brooks.
That way
The jury
it
is
doesn't become an
remaining in
issue.
this courtroom. Call your next witness, please.
Your Honor, you're rushing me to judgment.
There's no rush to judgment, sir.
Are you not a public servant, Your Honor?
Mr.
Do
Brooks.
I not have your oath of office?
Under
to be up on?
90611, this court has the authority, as you
Do
know.
I not have?
Call.
It's not a copy for.
Who does
I
he
asked for
think he
certified copies
is?
that you
How
said on record
he's
that you
he's
would
an
not provide
idiot.
for no good.
He thinks he's smart, or
Sir,
I don't
you
know.
are doing this.
Right
I
here.
repeatedly told you, you can see the jury's here. You're doing this.
Listen,
We need to go
I'm
forward.
not attempting to delay the proceedings. I'm not attempting
Well, go.
to be disruptive. I'm merely trying to notify Your Honor in the court for the record beforehand. That way, everyone's at least on notice of the issues that need to be taken up instead of waiting until a break or a lunch and things of that nature, which
In
kills
my
valuable
discretion,
time.
it's my authority. It's the courtroom that I'm
Your Honor.
presiding over. I'm not
She's
going to
the
address it
boss.
at this moment.
It's not your
And I'm
oath.
not going to
She's the boss, not you.
As a public servant, that you will protect the
Mr.
United
Brooks.
States Constitution.
Do you see that?
Did not
Do you
do
guys see that?
3 times.
That's narcissism.
all of it.
That's the face.
Your oath, Your Honor, as a public servant. And that
That is the face of narcissism. She is the judge. And he is telling her what to do in her courtroom. That would be the equivalent, and I am telling you, of your 5-year-old child telling you, Mom, go to bed right now. You need to go to bed right now. You look at them and say, excuse me. Excuse me, what are you saying? They'd be like, no, it's time for you to go to bed, Mom. And you ain't going to eat no dinner. You'd be like, excuse me, what are you saying? Right? It would freak you out. It'd be funny for a second, but if they were dead serious, you'd be like, what? Hold up. You know? And then if they started cussing at you too or something, you'd be like, whoa. Right? Am I joking? People, this is narcissism.
now you're rushing me to judgment.
There's no
when
rush
I'm
to
doing
judgment.
things lawfully by trying to notify you and notify the court.
He's doing things
of issues that
narcissically,
need to be addressed
not
just
lawfully,
beforehand.
narcissically.
We are in the evidentiary phase of this trial.
Your Honor, you're
Call
rushing
your
me to
next
judgment.
witness.
You're rushing me to judgment, Your Honor. And I object
I'm
to
aware
that.
of 3 witnesses
I
who are
object-
here.
I
Call
object to
one
that.
of them, please.
Your Honor, I object to that.
Your objection's noted.
And I want a legal reconsideration of your ruling. If not, I reject that ruling and take exception to that ruling.
I understand.
I request a legal or factual basis for your ruling, a written judicial finding of fact and conclusion of law for your ruling.
Oh,
If
keep
not
reading from your paper, idiot.
Declaratory appeal for this matter, and if not, these needs need to be stayed until this matter is before a adjudicated court of competent jurisdiction. Because we have not proven jurisdiction in this court as of yet. Subject matter jurisdiction has not even been proven on the record, Your Honor. I don't even know the true nature and cause of the
Mr.
charges
Brooks.
against me. I don't even understand that part.
I
of it.
understand.
Okay, so now he is behaving as if he is the smartest person in the room. And people who have seen more of the trial, and you don't even have to have seen more of the trial, people who just can watch this can see that this guy, I mean, you are being rude and just, I mean, come on, dude. You are not the smartest person in this room. You are being rude to this judge. she's got the patience of, I don't know, like a saint, somebody walking behind a grandma, right, on a crosswalk. She's got the patience, and you are just rude.
Your
Provided
request.
a complaint. I haven't, Your Honor. There's so many issues.
Mr.
and
Brooks,
I'm not
we will
attempting.
take,
I'm not attempting to,
Mr.
to
Brooks,
be disrespectful in any way.
we
I'm
need
not
to
attempting
continue.
to delay the proceedings.
Your requests are denied,
Your Honor.
and I'm going to instruct the jury at this point to disregard and not consider any of what has just happened since you walked in. It should not be held against Mr. Brooks in any way. These are legal issues that this court may or may not need to address, but they do not bear in any way on ultimately the issues that you as jurors will have to. And last name.
Did you know that there's a simple combination of natural ingredients that will help?
Each. Go ahead.
First name Nicholas, last name Kirby, Nicholas Kirey.
Great. Thank you. Go ahead, sir. Your witness.
Good afternoon, Mr. Kirby. How are you today?
I'm here.
What do you do for a living?
Mostly temp work.
Do you recall the events of November 21st of 2021?
All too well.
And what were you doing that day?
What time of the day?
Around 3 o'clock-ish.
3 o'clock-ish. Around 3 o'clock-ish, I was walking with Corey around Waukesha.
And made reference to walking with Corey. Who is Corey?
Corey is a friend of Miss Patterson's.
And would it be fair to say that it's also a friend of yours?
Mutual friend, yes.
In reference to Corey?
Yes.
Yeah, but he's friends with your
And
girl.
what were you doing?
Walking around Waukesha, she was waiting for Miss Patterson to get done meeting with Mr. Brooks. You,
At 3 o'clock?
around 3 o'clock-ish. Around that time, I had advised her not to go meet with Mr. Brooks.
You made reference to Mr. Brooks. Who's that?
That would be you.
And why would you say it would be you? That's you.
Because that's your name.
And you were privy to that information at the time?
I was privy to the information about you about a week prior to this incident.
So this feed comes from Mushmouth Joe. He is a master of editing and pretty funny. So if you have not seen Mushmouth, I would say that's to be honest, who I prefer to watch, because when I want to watch this trial, just to be honest, because I like to have it edited. If I want to have everything edited out, if I want to see everything in its entirety and every little detail and minutia for, whatever purpose, then I will go to my long crime. If I want to see, the edited pieces and get a good kick out of laughter and all that, I go to my Mushmouth Joe. So, okay, I digress. I had to give that shout out because, you got to give shout outs to people when they deserve it. All right.
About a week prior. And during your walking around, what were you doing with Corey?
Walking, like literally walking. We went from one store to walking around downtown after Erica told us she was going to be going to meet with Mr. Brooks. That would be you. I had advised her not to do it because it was a bad idea, and I was in fear for her safety.
You made reference to going from one store to another. What stores are you referencing?
Dollar General and Speedway.
Did you go anywhere else?
No.
Did you ever go to a park?
No.
You made reference to knowing about a week prior to these events, you said?
I didn't know everything about him. Miss Patterson had showed me his rap sheet, if you will, and a picture of him, and that was about it. I had heard prior
I did advise you, I'm going to stop the witness unless you wanted to go there, not to discuss what may or may not be conduct of Mr. Brooks prior to November 21 of 2021. With that understanding, go ahead and ask the next question.
You made reference to a picture you were shown?
just a photograph with a rap sheet behind it.
And at some point, did you and your mutual friend Corey meet up with Miss Patterson?
Yes.
Do you recall where that was?
Corey and I were in the Dollar General area of Waukesha, which is between East and Broadway Street. We were walking away from Dollar General, towards where Erica had said that she was being assaulted and attacked.
And do you recall where that area was?
Yes.
Where was that area?
On White Rock Avenue, right across from White Rock Elementary, in front of the red apartments across from that area.
Red apartments.
Yes.
Do you know what
So he
those
attacks his
apartments
baby's
are called?
mom
I do not know the name. I'm guessing they're called White Rock Apartments.
and has the
You know if
audacity
there's a park in that
to
immediate
question her
vicinity
friends
There is a park
who
there
come
named
to her
Frank Park,
aid.
yes.
that you ever go
So
to?
that's kind of
Frank
where
Park?
this video is
No.
headed.
We were in
And I
that
wanted to
area
just
near
kind
the
of show a
park where
little bit of
elementary
it
school
because
is,
these are the
park.
people who helped her.
What time did you and your mutual friend Corey meet up with?
I just thought it was kind of wild.
Patterson called me.
I'm going to show you a little more where he gets a little testy with the people who actually helped the mother of his children while he was attacking her.
Honestly, around what time the parade started. I would have to say like dusk. I honestly don't wear a watch, so sorry, I don't remember the time. I do not. Yes, she screamed. Do I remember what she was trying to say? No, I'm guessing it would be help. I'm in trouble. I would assume that that's what a person would scream when they're in trouble, is for help.
Do we still have the exhibit with the footage from the White Rock School available?
The security footage?
The security footage, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
From what you can see in this video, do you see anyone get in or out of the vehicle that you see on your screen?
Miss Patterson is just exited the vehicle.
I didn't hear that.
So Miss Patterson was the one that exited the red SUV.
You saw someone exit.
Yes.
Can you wind it back? Did you see anyone from in the video that you're being shown now from about the 1 minute and 5 second mark to where it's paused right now at 1 minute and 21 seconds? Did you observe anyone get in or out of the vehicle?
I'm going to take back what I said earlier. Apparently, according to this video, she did not exit your vehicle. She was behind the White Rock sign. That's why I did not see her.
Did you see anyone get in?
So she didn't get out at that point. Oh, well, she was in your car earlier and you hit her.
Into the vehicle.
Later on, within the incident, yes.
On the video that you are able to view right now, from the 1 minute and 5 second mark to the 1 minute and 21 second mark, did you observe anyone get into the vehicle?
No.
Can you publish for the jury? At that time, were you already en route to where you believe your friend was being assaulted at?
Objection calls for speculation. This defendant has not even put this witness at this location at this time. He's just having him testify about what he's seeing in video.
I understand the objection. It's the same. Please establish some foundation for this witness being present at that location.
Were you-
more information about the incident?
Were you present at this time?
We were on White Rock Avenue, but we were not in the general location of the school as of yet. As of that point in time.
So to your recollection, you didn't see anything that you're seeing right now on this video. You did not see the day of the incident?
No, I definitely saw Miss Patterson in a red SUV that day.
Did you see?
At this specific time, no. Because I was down the road on White Rock talking to an officer who was manning the intersection of Hartwell and White Rock and reporting at that time.
Can we play a little bit more, if I may?
Objection is to relevance. If he wants to direct,
And here he goes, right? He thinks he's smarter than everyone in the room. And you see that smug look on his face. He literally, you saw his girlfriend there getting out the car. She had just been assaulted by him. Assaulted. This is domestic violence, you guys. This is domestic violence, okay? And he had met with his girlfriend that day. Got mad at her. We'll hear a little more, but he got mad at her. Assaulted her. And, yeah.
the video to a certain time that if he would like to ask this witness about that particular time that the witness saw that, that's fine. But you can't go through each video and say and ask general questions.
He actually can, but that's fine.
I'm going to give Mr. Brooks some leeway on this.
Would it be fair to say from the two exhibit videos that we watched today that you in fact did not walk past any SUV?
I most definitely walked past an SUV that was red on White Rock Avenue. Whether or not it was your specific SUV, it was still a red SUV. Up until this point, knowing Miss Patterson, I didn't know anything about the father of her child. I didn't know anything about his background except for what she showed me over the phone. Anything about his vehicle description, why would she need to tell me that?
Is it fair to say that the video doesn't show you walking past any red SUV?
If the video,
Is that fair to say?
if the video proves that, then yes.
In the report that was taken from you by detective, do you yourself recall stating that the alleged defendant tried to punch and push you?
The alleged defendant being you? Yes. Attempted to.
Would it be fair to say from the video that it doesn't show you being pushed, or
No, it does not. It shows me pulling two women away from the situation.
any reason why you would state to detectives that the alleged defendant attempted to punch and push you?
Probably because there were three different people's fists flying, and I was just trying to get the people that I cared about out of the way of danger. So if my statement to the detective is off a little bit after watching a bunch of people get run over, I can understand why.
So you were at the parade that day?
I was not at the parade that day. I was in the area
So
trying to get back to my house.
how can you watch people being run over if you weren't at the parade that day?
I wasn't attending the parade. I was in the area that the parade route was in. My street is the parade route.
Did you see anyone injured that day during the parade?
Yes, after I walked back through that area,
You saw someone get injured?
I saw a red SUV take off like a bat out of hell down Main Street and go through a crowd of people.
The question was, did you see this take place?
With my own freaking eyes, yes. How many times do I have to say yes for you to understand it? YES spells yes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I don't know.
Can you move me to strike the last response?
What you smiling
The
at?
jury will
Look at
disregard
him.
the
Ugh.
last response. Just gonna
That's what I'm
remind both
saying.
of you,
That is
please answer the
narcissism.
questions that are asked. Follow-up needs to take place. Either Mr. Brooks or the state will ask.
Is it fair that, well, in reference to the
He thinks it's funny.
Exhibit 3 video that we just viewed?
You're talking about the one by the elementary school.
Yeah, the one that we just viewed, which would be Exhibit 3. Is it fair to say from that vehicle, got me
Video.
I'm sorry, from that video, is it fair to say from that video that, in fact, there are not 3 people throwing punches? Would that be fair to say?
There are 3 people throwing hands in that video. Erica, Corey, and Mr. Brooks. Not myself. If you watch the video, you will see 3 pairs of hands go up towards one another. Whether one is stepping in to pull someone away from another or not, hands are being brought up.
Do you recall where you went after that altercation?
You mean where me and the 2 girls went? Where me and Miss Patterson and Miss Corey went?
Were you in the...
Where he went with your girlfriend and your girlfriend's friend.
We started
Yes.
we started walking back. We turned to walk back the direction we had came, so taking White Rock and Main Street, and then cutting through the neighborhood there to get over to where the women's shelter was. That was where we were going at that point in time. However, things took a drastic turn when the red SUV that I have described multiple times went down the opposite direction of White Rock Avenue, across the railroad tracks and the intersection of Perkins and White Rock, and then turned back around and came back down. That is what you saw in the video here when the red vehicle pulled up on the school side of White Rock. After the altercation between Miss Patterson, Mr. Brooks, Miss Corey, and myself, the 3 of us, Miss Patterson, Miss Corey, we started to leave. I told Mr. Brooks, you need to get out of here. The police have been called. You need to leave. You need to leave now. You do not belong here. I did not expect.
You strike everything that's not pertaining to the question that was asked.
Actually, I'm just describing the entire event in its entirety.
I understand.
Yeah, smug.
Strike the response of being non-responsive to the question. The jury is to disregard it. Re-ask your question again.
Okay. Do you recall where you and your 2 female friends went after the altercation?
We started to head back in the direction of the women's shelter where they live.
All right. We are coming to the end of video 1 on Darrel Brooks is a narcissist. So I want to thank you for staying with me if you've been able to stick it out. And if not, if you've fast forwarded, that's okay too. I hope you're able to like, subscribe, leave a comment. And if you're looking for that $5 for that word, go for it. All right, here we go. Let's do this.
How are some of these answers allowed to pass when they're coming straight from reports made by the people on the stand? Very curious.
I don't understand your question. I'm not sure what you're asking me.
What I'm asking is, reading from the report that the people on the the stand are giving the report that they gave to law enforcement.
If you're asking me whether there's a mechanism in the rules of evidence and how to establish that before the jury, the answer to that is yes. If you're asking me how you do that, I'm not going to answer that.
Right? I mean, that's how. I just, to be blunt, which I've been since the beginning of this trial, obviously.
This whole rant is full of narcissism, just so you know. And it's so interesting. You can just see the spacely sprockets of cogs in his little cobwebbed brain moving. Yeah. So for those of you mental health practitioners and those of you who just have lived with narcissists and are like, oh man, you see it. You see it.
I see the whole strategy here by the prosecution. I see right through it. Don't have any cross-examination. Mainly because you've already schooled the people getting on the stand on how to answer certain things.
Well, that is completely speculative on your part without
It's
any
obvious.
basis in law or fact.
It's obvious.
Sir, you could ask questions that establish that. You can ask them if they've met with anyone. You haven't done that. So for you to say that right now is without basis. If you want to,
It's clear.
if you are looking to elicit what they said in the report, there is a way under the rules of evidence based upon the way the witnesses have answered to clarify that. But that requires you to call certain witnesses. I'm not going to give you any more legal advice further than that.
I don't think I have to
So
call any other witnesses.
if you're asking me to strike their testimony based on their
I didn't say
perceived,
anything
then that's
about that.
all right. Then I'm going to bring the jury back out and you're going to call your next witness. So I'm
So
not
you-
hearing a request from you at this time. You said you wanted to raise a legal issue. What's the legal issue?
The legal issue is how is the state allowed to coach? the
You're
people getting on
assuming
the
they
stand?
spoke to them and coached them.
It's obvious. I'm not stupid.
Well, I disagree with that, sir. Again, you could ask
All of
questions
a
to
sudden-
lay a
All of
foundation.
a sudden,
She disagrees with the fact that he's not stupid. You caught that, right?
the
Who are
state
these
don't got
witnesses?
all of a sudden, for the first time in trial, all of a sudden now they don't got no cross. That's clearly a rush to try to get through the case. Hurry up. We just gonna let these people go.
Well, this is
Nah,
argument.
Come on, man.
This is argument on your part,
I
sir.
see
It
through
is pure
I
commentary
just
at
want
this
that on the
point.
record. I see through it.
And your
Nice try,
see-through
but I see through it.
has absolutely no basis in fact.
I know that's what's being done.
You could
Come on, man.
ask these questions. You could
Come on,
ask
man.
these
Got the right
witnesses
one.
certain questions, and you're not.
far from an idiot.
They're your witnesses, sir. You believe.
So I'm gonna start asking every witness up here that they seem just to mysteriously now not have any cross for it. Have they been coached to answer the way they answer? Because
You can't
I
ask
find-
that, but
I
you can
find
ask
it
them
very
if
funny.
they've met with anyone ahead of
I
their
find it
testimony
very
here
funny.
today,
I find
which
it
you've
very
done
funny.
with other witnesses.
I find it very funny that these are their reports, and now all of a sudden you can. Oh, I saw the person in the car. Oh, but
Mr. Brooks,
I
this
saw
is
them
an
reach for
attempt by
something.
you
Oh,
to
I don't
delay these
recall what
proceedings.
they had on.
Mr. Brooks,
You
there's no
recall seeing
purpose
somebody
for you
reach for
saying this
something
right
and
now.
don't know what they had on. I find that
All right,
very.
I'm having the jury brought out. I'm instructing you to
Oh, man.
avoid the commentary when the jury comes out, or you will
I didn't
forfeit
say-
your right to be
I didn't say
present.
nothing. You.
Pick up potential as to a witness by the name of Abel Lescano. He has prior criminal history.
Thank you.
So as long as the jury's out, we should probably discuss that. I would like to provide the defendant and the court with a copy.
So that had to be said. So the defendant.
That's not how it was said.
That was how I said. You want to run the record back?
Mr. Brooks,
So I'm the only one. I got one ear that working. I
That's
heard.
funny.
this is to benefit you so that
No, it's
you
not.
understand
Ain't none of
your
this to benefit
witness
me, so let's
has
be
a
clear about
prior
that.
record.
He
Your Honor,
is
when I leave
crazy.
the table, I'm away from the courtroom, and I have to elevate my voice. This is the
So she got
alleged
the
record
voice
of Abel
just for that.
Lescano.
Stop talking.
Oh man, like I don't know who y'all be thinking y'all fooling. I set the value, return for value. This document.
One more interruption and you're going to be removed to the next
That's
courtroom.
what you want to do.
Who is this guy?
It's not what I want to do.
He is
Do
crazy.
not interrupt Attorney Alford.
So can
Your Honor, I
can
believe he
please-
has 7 prior criminal convictions via OWI 2nd from 1997, and OWI 3rd from 1997, and OWI 4th from 2003.
Oh, he's
criminal
crazy.
trespass dwelling
He
from
done lost his
2003.
I
mind.
need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared. And we're taking a break.
That is a domestic violence.
Thank you for watching part 1. If I get over 100 views, we will post part 2. Also, what narcissistic traits did you see? Post in the comments. Thanks again.